G'day guys, welcome back to you know what? Today was terrible. Today was really bad. So welcome back to Steelers Oz. But today was absolutely awful. And if we want to talk about scripted games, riggery, uh, controlled by the refs, this is the podcast for you. Well, look, let's start with this. I want to start with, I think it was DJ, and we're going to go through a few tweets. So Nick Farabar is a bloke from Pittsburgh media. Says Deontay Johnson blasted the refs, didn't understand the offsides on the field goal, didn't understand the different roughing the passer calls. Stated simply, the refs wanted them to win. You know what? It's becoming far too obvious, like way too obvious. From pretty much the start of the game, the refs were controlling certain plays and certain flags to give the Jaguars a chance. Like, can you at least hide it better? Like, I know if you want that team to win, they threw a flag on James Pierre. I think it was 3rd down and 4. It was a pass interference flag, right? Another flag on Trevor Lawrence where Keanu Neal tackled the quarterback around the ribs and they didn't know what to do. Like, where is he meant to tackle him? Flag, right? Give him a chance to win. Give the Jaguars a chance to win. So there's nothing wrong with what DJ said. The refs wanted them to win, which is terrible. I've got a few more tweets I want to cover. And just overall, can you make it less obvious? The last few years I've been seeing this, that the refs control the game. Roger Goodell calls up Vegas and says, we want this team to win. When big money's involved, you're always going to get these kind of games. And today, the Steelers had to not only get out of their own way by playing a bad offense, they had to verse the refs and they had to verse the Jaguars. The Jaguars and the Jag-offs. Because DJ is not wrong. He's not wrong. We also had here the official who threw the PI flag on Pierre, threw it all the way from the backfield, 25 yards from the play. The official right on top of it called nothing. So the bloke threw a flag 25 yards away who couldn't see it. Terrible. There's also a really bad spot too. There was a fumble that was almost turned over. There was some just terrible plays in this, man. Mike Tomlin was asked to, Alan Saunders as well. So we have a few Pittsburgh media guys here. We have Nick Farabaugh, we have Dale Lawley, and Alan Saunders telling you what's happening. So Mike Tomlin on the penalty that erased the Chris Boswell field goal before the halftime, which would have been 9-6. Chris Boswell lined up, got a 55-yard field goal. They called offsides on, I think it was the right guard or one of our players, offsides. Like neutral zone infraction or whatever you call it. Like, we were offside. And they called a flag. Then they had to do a 61-yard field goal attempt again. Like, you cannot tell me that the refs aren't getting involved in this. The refs got involved in the game last week with the Browns coming back to get 2 PI calls to beat the Colts. It's one of those things where the NFL is really smart. The NFL has this by the Steelers black and gold, you know what? Because I love this team so much. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love the black and gold. I love the city. I love the fan base. I love the community that we have here on Steel Nation Oz. However, we're playing by the NFL's rules. And the NFL's rules right now is about entertainment. And they try and give advantages to teams to play better and give them extra chances to win, and money gets involved. And you can't tell me the refs weren't involved in this game. They definitely were. The refs were involved in this game for sure. Mike Tomlin says, I haven't seen a call like that in 17 years of standing on the sideline. Remember last week when they called TJ Watt offside, which he wasn't offside, right? This week they called offside on the field goal, and it should have been a 9-6 game. The margins get involved, minus this, minus that, over, under, all this kind of stuff. Give Jaguars a bit more hand. Jaguars are the new flashy team. Steelers are just the Steelers. We're just that's what we are. So that's incredible. We had here one from Charlie Batch too. Another NFL guy, ex-quarterback Charlie Batch says, I don't understand how a defender can tackle the quarterback anymore. Shake my head. So you had one play where Trevor Lawrence got penalized and flagged. For Keanu Neal got penalized. We got penalized for that. And on the other play, the Jaguars defender threw and forcibly took Kenny to the ground. By the way, I don't think it's that bad. It's not that bad of a hit. But in comparison to if you're going to flag Trevor, you might as well flag the other bloke because you can't land your body weight on the quarterback. Then Kenny Pickett gets a rib injury, and next one we see Trubisky go in there, throw picks, and he plays really bad football. So how are you going to throw a flag on Trevor Lawrence in that situation where it was a form tackle, a normal tackle? Then the next point you see the Jaguars guy throw Kenny to the ground, forcibly use his weight, and there's zero flag. This game was, if you're talking about scripted or rigory, this is the one. Joke. Pickensberg from Twitter says he's a funny bloke on Twitter. This could very well be the worst officiated game of football ever. Now, quarterback number one is hurt, throwing his shoulder. Thank you, NFL officiating. Yeah, it's terrible. It's getting way too obvious, man. It's way too obvious. The Steelers never had a chance in this game. Never had a chance to get out of their own way. They had to beat the Jaguars, the refs, and they also had to beat the play calling and all that kind of stuff. It's just so terrible. A few more. Chris Carter says here that hit on Kenny Pickett looked a lot worse with the full body weight of the defender on him than it did Trevor Lawrence. And they got exactly right. So they got a roughing the passer call for Trevor, but none for Kenny. There's zero consistency. And while we hear more from Jeff from Steelcoat Network says instead of being 9-6, it's 9-3 at halftime. Steelers have every right to be peed off with the officiating in this game, being questionable at best. I agree. There's nothing more you can say. The refs controlled the game from halftime. It always felt like the Jaguars were going to win. They ended up winning the game 20-10, and that's it. Now we just got to stomach the loss. We've got to be frustrated the whole week, and then we're going to wait until Steelers versus Titans and hopefully get a better officiating crew. But at the end of the day, what really happens is these games are, they're controlled. They're pretty much controlled by the NFL. They have a certain narrative they want to follow, and they tell the refs, or they money gets involved, and it's sad to see. It's really sad to see a product that we celebrate James Debo Harrison. When you go back to the 70s with Mean Joe Green and all those guys, and even Troy back in the day, and right now the game itself is hurting. The NFL game is hurting. I don't really watch too much about the NFL now. I don't really talk like what the NFL is doing, but I love my team, and that's where they have us by the black and gold, you know what. But for other guys like Dale Lawley, Nick Farabaugh, Alan Saunders, Charlie Batch, all those guys complaining, and even DJ saying something, the refs wanted them to win. There's truth in that. So whether or not you call me a conspiracy theorist, I don't care, but there's truth in that. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So DJ says here, the refs wanted them to win. I'll see you later, I guess.